Hi, I'm Messian Maine, and I'm reinventing myself as the consummate fuckboy. The other day it occurred to me, fuckboys are always having a much better time than me, and at the cost of less effort at that. You know, it might not look like it, especially after the metamorphosis that you see before you, but I actually work on myself. I read books, I eat healthy, I work out for at least an hour a day, and as much as I hate it, I still fill out those CBT worksheets and whatnot. Instead of the negative thought, I wish I was dead, I'm gonna try saying, I would prefer not to be alive. That's more positive reframing. Fuckboys have none of these concerns. They're driven by their passions rather than a drive for self-actualization, or even being motivated by their own fears, like dying miserable and alone with no achievements to show for it. Fuckboys just like themselves fine the way they are. In fact, they're going to tell you that everyone else is the problem. The key to being a fuckboy is approaching the world with the view that existence is all about pleasure, and that your own pleasure is a God-given right. The rest is all habit and aesthetics, and that's easy to pick up. This is often a regional thing, so if you need some guidance, you can hang out at Dollarama for a couple hours, or just create a Plenty of Fish profile as a woman. Just be sure to use a motivational quote as your profile photo. Otherwise, you're going to see more erect penises than anyone has ever cared to. I made that mistake. But on the bright side, I'm no longer worrying about the size of my penis. But from what I've seen, some of you guys really need to start stressing. But I'll get back to that. Plenty of Fish is kind of like Pinterest. But instead of place settings and crafts, it's a pinboard of the shittiest local dudes imaginable that you can draw inspiration from. And here I am. I noticed that the fuckboys around here all wear baseball hats, so I started with this mesh-backed hat and worked my way down from there. I've never worn hats, especially not baseball hats, on account of the shape and length of my head, but in proper fuckboy fashion, I stopped caring and just went with it. Baseball hats are also a really great place to advertise whatever nascent reactionary politics you've gleaned from listening to podcasts. You know, the ones where one group of fuckboys interviews another group of fuckboys about ideas they've never researched but are somehow total experts on. Next came getting the right facial hair. I basically stopped shaving for a week and called it a look instead of calling it laziness. My face itches like mad all the time, but it does save time. You also need a t-shirt that fits like a sack in order to hide the body that you're secretly ashamed of, but also one that's aspirational. This one is about skateboarding. I've never ridden a skateboard more than a few dozen meters, yet here I am wearing a skateboarding t-shirt because I want to be seen as sporty, rebellious, and youthful. And to bring the look all together, you'll need a massive watch that draws attention to itself and some Bluetooth headphones. The next phase is realigning your interests and behaviors. You need to care deeply about sports, but not actually play any yourself. Like really caring about MMA, but being totally afraid to take a punch. Because instead of sports, you play Xbox, and you aren't very good at it. My Xbox name is Chad, XXX, 420, Pussy Annihilator, 69. That's Chad of Chad Thundercock fame. Of course my name isn't Chad. It's probably something like Chris or Danny, but I totally identify as a Chad, and definitely not the Virgin. XXX just looks really cool, especially when you stylize it like this. Oddly enough, that choice has nothing to do with straight edge hardcore, but maybe it should, because straight edge is totally the fuckboy genre of punk. 420 is self-explanatory. I've never smoked weed, but I had to add that, because Chad XXX Pussy Annihilator 69, that was already taken. Pussy Annihilator, with the number 8 as a phonetic stand-in, well, I annihilate the pussies. With my penis, I suppose. If you're going to be a real fuckboy, your conception of sex needs to be mutually imbricated with your understanding of violence. So be sure to use violent terms, like slamming and smashing when describing the act. And finally, what better way to let everyone know that you have all the humor and emotional development of a 13-year-old boy than by adding 69 at the end of your screen name. Of course, in true fuckboy fashion, you're too repulsed to reciprocate the favor. Speaking of penises, you need to take lots of photos of yours. Like a lot. A lot. You never know when you're going to need to send one. Can't articulate a thought or an emotion? Just say it with a dick pic. Here's an actual pro tip for taking better dick pics. Use a 55mm prime lens. And get creative. If you aren't comfortable with your penis, and I know many of you aren't, just change the profile pic on your Instagram account to one of Rachel Lee Cook and She's All That. A lot of catfishing involved in becoming a fuckboy. Your DMs will fill up in no time at all, and you can just choose the penises that you want for your collection. It's like using store-bought cookie dough and passing it off as homemade. Nobody cares, nobody asked for them, you just brought them. But thanks, bud. And I don't even need to tell you about vaping. I've only been on this for about a week, but things are already looking up for me. The best part is that people have stopped calling me Chief, and now they just assume that I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, instead of telling me that I should. I'm gonna eat a whole bag of potato chips as a light snack, and then for lunch, I'm gonna have 5 pounds of chicken wings and french fries. I've never had that kind of freedom before. I think I'm gonna get used to this life.